In calculus, an integral is a mathematical object that can be interpreted as an area or a generalization of area. And the process of computing an integral is called integration. Integrals can be indefinite, which is an integral written without terminals. It simply asks us to find a general antiderivative of the integrand. Or definite, which is an integral with terminals. It is a number which measures an area under a graph between the terminals. But before we determine how to find the integral of a function, let us get to know the basic rules of integration.
Rule 1. The constant rule. The integral of dx is equals to x plus c.
Integral dx is equals to x plus c.
Rule 2. The power rule. Integrate any function that can be written as a power of x.
Integral x to the power of n dx is equals to x to the power of n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c.
Rule 3. The constant multiple rule says the derivative of a constant multiplied by a function is the constant multiplied by the derivative of the function.
Integral c f of x dx is equals to c integral f of x dx.
Rule 4. The sum rule tell us that we must integrate each term in the sum separately and then just add the result together.
Integral open bracket f of x plus g of x close brackets dx is equals to integral f of x dx plus integral g of x dx.
We have the equation the integral of square root of x cubed times 2 over x to the power of 4 times dx, and we need to find the integral of this equation. To make it easier, we need to simplify the square root of x cubed. To rewrite the equation, the square root of x cubed is basically an exponent to the 3/2 power. The coefficient 2 can be moved outside the integral via constant multiple rule. For integrals giving us 2 integral of x to the power of 3/2 times 1 over x to the 4th power times dx. Next, we simplify 1 over x to the 4th power by moving out x to the 4th power out of the denominator, by raising it to the -1 power. Now, we have the equation 2 integral of x to the power of 3/2 times x to the power of -4 times dx. Simplify further. Rule in multiplying exponents, add exponents. 3/2 plus -4 is equal to -5/2, and via rule number 2, which is the power rule, integrate x to the -5/2 power with respect to x. By the power rule, we add 1 to the exponent and then divide by that same value, so we get 2 times x to the power of -3/2 over -3/2. To cancel out the denominator, multiply both sides by -2/3. This gives us 2 times -2/3 x to the power of -3/2 plus c. Since the exponent is negative, we bring -3/2 to the denominator. This becomes 2 times -2 over 3x to the power of 3/2 plus c. Simplify further and combine. -2 and 2 over 3x to the power of 3/2, giving us the final answer, which is -4 over 3x to the power of 3/2 plus c.
Remember these basic rules. In indefinite integrals, Remember, it is not one function but a family of functions, differing by constants. And so, the answer must have a plus sign constant term to indicate all antiderivatives. The power rule for integration is just the inverse of the power rule used in the differentiation. It gives us the indefinite integral of a variable raised to a power. Constant multiple rule means that you can pull constants out of the integral, which can simplify the problem. Lastly, the integral of sum of two or more functions is equal to the sum of their integrals.